We are days away from Thanksgiving, sneaking up on Christmas. Happy holidays. Not only that, December 1st, an off-the-track battle that is going to drastically change NASCAR. And some text messages and emails have come out. I'm going to break it all down for you. It's Dirty Air coming up next. Friends, Rodney Rodriguez from Texas, race announcer, talk show host, just a general all-around racing guy, all-around sports guy. This is Dirty Air with Rodney Rodriguez, where we talk about all of the things going on in all of those aforementioned things. Happy holidays, by the way. Glad to be joining you and to have you Dirty Air, in the Dirty Air. Remember, clean air is good. Times like this, Dirty Air is just a tad bit better. Ongoing lawsuit happening with NASCAR. This has been building all year, all over charters. 2311 Front Row Motorsports versus NASCAR. It's a kind of a new buck the system type of situation, what you have going on here, where you have a couple of newer teams with progressive owners, not the standard owners that you've seen in the past with NASCAR. You know, NASCAR has their typical owners, you know, the names you're familiar with: Richard Childress, Rick Hendrick, Joe Gibbs, those guys. Then you have these young bucks, these people that think outside the box a little bit, don't like the charter system. Charter system is what it is. It guarantees teams a way into these events, each and every one of these 30 some odd events that you see each and every year. Gone are the days of top 25 points, and all that. The sport has changed drastically. Well, these charter agreements, since they've come into place, when it was all initiated, great thing. These things are awarded to the aforementioned teams that have been a part of this. But as the system has gone on, just like anything else, the cost of doing business, these things have gotten really, really sought after. And when something's sought after, market value, what does that do? That money goes up, 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 up. Next charter agreement, it was up, a couple of years ago. And you had two that bucked the system. You had two that thought that maybe they were being treated unfairly, and that's 2311 and Front Row Motorsports. And what do when you're treated unfairly? You pick up the phone call and you say, we are going to court, or I'm taking you to court. And that's exactly how this is all started. And here we are, December 1st is the date that all of this is supposed to begin. Enjoy your turkey, eat your cranberry sauce, your dressing, enjoy your food, family, and football. Because you add the other F, it's about to get freaking ugly. In the last couple of days, it really has done that, because when you have court cases, you have all the various subpoenas, you have attorneys involved. You can make a list of all the different things that happen when a court case is happening. Well, one of those things is a lot of things become public record. A lot of things become public record. And that's exactly what has happened the last couple of days. You've got email exchanges, text exchanges, and I'm not going to sit here and pull up graphics and let you see them. You've seen them. If you're on X, you've seen all of these folks that report on this sport all the time, every day. A lot of times tell you the same shit over and over. You've seen them break some of this stuff. I mean, you've heard all the different opinions, and we only thought that we had something of value that was going to be happening the next few weeks with a point system. Well, now you've got some emails and text exchanges that have surfaced to where it's not in the best light for the sanctioning body, especially when you have essentially the two people in command that are not speaking well about some people that have been supporting their sport and the whole chronology of how everything has gone. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of points. I'm not going to sit here and ramble on all day, because you folks can have your own opinions on what you think of NASCAR. I really don't understand how it's been a question about NASCAR controlling motorsports, because when it comes to look at the layout of what we'll call the top level of asphalt pavement racing in the country, it's definitely NASCAR. Of course, it's a monarchy. They have all of this. I mean, you look at the short track system, they control a lot of that when it comes to that. They have their own weekly series, which I think is a great thing. I bet I've raced in the weekly series of NASCAR. And my dad raced in the weekly series of NASCAR, and it was a great thing. I mean, back in those times, it was a really great thing. I can't sit here and tell you guys exactly about it now because that was many, many years ago. That was back in the 90s and the early 2000s when we were a part of that. So I don't know exactly how it operates now, but I can tell you one thing. It's really cool to whip out my NASCAR license and say, hey, I'm a NASCAR driver. I've said that a lot. I still have those licenses, by the way. But when you have these conversations that become privy to everyone. And I want to preface this conversation by saying text exchanges, email exchanges, those things are meant to be private. Who hasn't fired off a text to the wrong person and said, holy smoke, that wasn't for them? That's essentially what's happening right here, to where you do this stuff and it's meant to be in privacy and you're talking shit about somebody. But this is where all of this is coming to a head, because this is a very, very bad look for the sanctioning body. This is certainly not something where you want the people in command to be saying derogatory things about your supporters. And some have been the greatest supporters. Richard Childress is the one that's the most predominant exchange that's been shared now, where he's been called different words and different whatever. And honestly, I mean, I want you guys to be real honest with yourselves. Who hasn't thought this about Childress? Who you've seen the decline of RCR. I've been on record where I say, man, Saturdays, absolutely brilliant. These guys are brilliant on Saturdays. Sunday, do y'all even think about Sundays? Is Sunday even something that's on the roadmap in Welcome, North Carolina? I mean, I don't know. It's not for me to decide. But Sundays have struggled. But RCR has been, Richard Childress has been one of the landmark and benchmark teams in this sport for a long, long time. And when word gets out that you have these higher uppers that are throwing out names and saying that this, that, and the other needs to happen, it's just not a good look. Not a very good look at all. So my favorite part of that is like, yeah, let me get on the phone and tell him, hey, man, some stuff's going to be coming out. Just kind of brace yourself, because it might not look good. It might not look good. Trying to save face, trying to do damage control before it happens. I guess that's a version of being proactive. Is that what was going on there? I don't know. You can look that stuff up yourself and see what the exchanges were. What I want to go back to is the whole conversation with SRX. When SRX came into the fold, to me, SRX was always look, I'm an IROC guy. I loved the International Racing Champions back in the day when it was at its heyday. When it became a NASCAR series, and I'm not slamming NASCAR, but when it became a NASCAR series where it became very hard for Formula One, for road racing, for IndyCar drivers, for all of these different genres to be able to be a part of that, it definitely lost its luster. Because you can go back and look at the 70s and 80s of NASCAR or IROC, to where you had, I mean, seriously, the best drivers in the world that competed in different facets in equally prepared cars. It was a very good concept, a great concept, as a matter of fact. Not to mention those cars were amazing. Thank you, Ray Evernham, for saving those. But SRX comes into the fold, and to me, I saw the SRX as something that was going to be that kind of that lifeline between what you may call more of a grassroots, where you've got the short tracks involved. I think a lot of folks, one of the sticking points with NASCAR is that you don't have the short tracks involved, and you don't have some of the grassroots stuff involved. Again, when you're bringing in past champions and different legends of sports, and you want to call that a short track little vine in between, yeah, that's a little bit of a stretch that I'm doing right there. But it kind of gave the short track feel with the Saturday night stuff. It was a very polished, put together presentation that was done on TV to kind of woo that Saturday night crowd in. And it did have that little influx in NASCAR, but it apparently has become evident that NASCAR was not happy with the way that this was being portrayed, where some of the NASCAR folks were doing the crossover. You've had Justin Marks that has been thrown into some of these things. Denny Hamlin's been thrown into these different things and conversations, and you've seen other names that have been mentioned. And I totally can get that from the NASCAR side, where that's our guy. that's our guy. These are our people, and they're obviously supporting this other rival thing. I never saw it as a rival, to be honest with you. With just the footprint and everything that NASCAR has, the Cup Series, and let's be forthright here and say the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the trucks, that's its own standalone thing. Nothing is going to rival that. Nothing has the power to rival that when it comes to talking outside of Formula One and talking outside of the NTT IndyCar Series. Those are the ones that can rival that. A little, and it was little. It was little. It never grew to the point where it was anything that was going to be a true rival. When you had this SRX thing, I really thought that was something that could be more of an oh, by the way thing to NASCAR, to where you get people jazzed up on Saturday nights or whatever day you're going to run that series with everything that you had there. But it would take the cooperation. And it seems like with NASCAR vividly, if you think about it, it makes sense. There was the threat there. And I think a lot of this was to where we, as the general public, we wanted this to be a threat to NASCAR. I think a lot of people wanted this to supersede NASCAR as that Sunday afternoon, that stock car racing series. We wanted that to happen because of the disdain between whether it's past fans or just detractors from NASCAR. We wanted NASCAR replaced already by this point. This wasn't that long ago when SRX was doing this. So I think that a lot of that was where we talk about NASCAR listening to the fans and listening to what people say and listening to social media and watching all of that. We caused a lot of this because we wanted that to happen. But NASCAR wanted this thing squashed, and that's where NASCAR got proactive in wanting to go to North Wilkesboro and wanting to go to different venues, wanting to go race in different places. And speaking that way, it's a good thing because it made all of that happen. It really made all of that happen. So that's great that you got to go to those venues. But now we're starting to figure out how this all happened, and you're starting to see the backside of the sport, which this sport, I've been in a lot of different capacities and different stuff outside of being behind the wheel. The sport can get really, really treacherous behind the scenes. And it's like anything else. It's a business. It's a business. So you get the backdoor conversations, you get the corporate room conversations, you get it when the money starts to be involved. That's when you can call it the fangs coming out, but that's when the business knowledge and the business savvy starts to come out. And anything that we're seeing right here, that we're seeing where NASCAR wanted SRX to go away and them using their own terms to call it whatever they're wanting to call it. By the way, those SRX cars, I was never the biggest fan of those cars. Get rid of the wing, maybe get rid of the front. I think it maybe would have been a better thing. But regardless, NASCAR did not want this to succeed. They were not happy that they had some of their folks that were involved in their franchise involved in this. And we're seeing now, after the fact, how all of that happened. And that's going to be used in the case to where it's like if you want to call somebody a monarchy and you start seeing these conversations and you start seeing these business tactics, how can you not dispute that? How can you not dispute that they were intent on destroying anything that could have a part into hurting their business? And there's lots of questions that are going to be raised in this lawsuit. This is all about money, and this is all about the sanctioning body being fair to the teams and getting their share of the cut of the money of all the different things, and that's going to be debated in the courts. But what's coming out now and what's just not looking good for NASCAR is that you see these internal conversations that are had every day. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care what industry you're in. You're going to have these conversations that are never meant to be privy to anybody else. These are meant to be internal. And when these start coming out, this is certainly something that you don't want other people to see. It's for your eyes only. And when these start happening, it's going to be a really bad black eye on you. And that's exactly what has happened here. So the legal portion of that, it's going to play itself out on how all of this is going to shake out with the lawsuit and the result of the lawsuit. And folks are saying this is the end of NASCAR. And I've seen folks say, I can't wait for the documentary of how NASCAR goes away. NASCAR's not going away, friends. I can tell you that right now. It's going to continue to thrive. It's going to continue to chase new markets. I think if anything out of this is really what you're going to see because it's obvious right now that NASCAR's focus has been on getting new markets, on getting new fans. And a lot of that, the perceived notion is that a lot of longtime fans and a lot of folks that have been supporters of NASCAR that do not now, they've given up on that train. So when you look at that, we have made a lot of this happen. A lot of folks quit on the sport, and a lot of people are doing different things. There's just an intimate love for dirt track racing right now, whether it be on a local, a regional, or a national level. So a lot of that, we as the NASCAR listens, we as the NASCAR listens group that NASCAR listens to, we've kind of built this. And that's why all of this stuff has happened behind the scenes. Am I surprised? Absolutely not. I'm absolutely not surprised. These conversations, I mean, maybe some of the rhetoric right there is a little surprising. And just wait until we get to December 1st and past that. I don't know what the hell else we're going to see, to be honest with you. But you need to keep an open mind. And if you've given up on the sport, hey man, go ahead and hate on it, and go ahead and think that it's going to go away, and go ahead and think whatever you're going to think. But it's not. It's really not. And the one thing that I'll tell you that I hope folks really do, if you've gone and looked at a lot of these internal messages, you've seen some stuff there from Denny Hamlin. And and again, this is all open records. This is all, nothing here has been doctored. Nothing here. We're not dealing with the government here. This is all open stuff where folks have gone in and found confidential conversations that have been had back and forth between multiple parties that are involved in this court case. I think for those of you that may have had a sour opinion of Denny Hamlin and maybe thinking that Denny Hamlin was, whatever you think that Denny Hamlin may have been, Denny Hamlin is very much an advocate for race teams, for individuals to want to do well in this sport with this huge piece of the pie that is sitting out there. Go study the stuff go study Denny's conversation. He's like empowering the people that he's reaching out to. And he's saying, we, not me and Michael, not me, Michael and Bubba and Reddick, we need to all work together right here to get what's going to be best for all of us, because we are the driving part of this sport. I think essentially what this case is going to come down to is you have the sanctioning body, and that's in some of those conversations as well. We are the show, which they are. They really are. But I've said for the longest time, and I've said this to race drivers in drivers meetings, when you go to a show, whether it's a cup race or you go to a local dirt track, we people participating, the drivers, we're the entertainers, and we need to act as such. And that's a whole different conversation that we can have on a different edition of Dirty Air, to where, yeah, they're giving us the platform, but we're the ones that make the show. So it's going to be really interesting to watch this thing shake itself out. Just a little extra holiday pizzazz that we'll have this year for it to all be settled down. And then this playoff thing is going to shake itself out too. If I'm NASCAR, I'm dropping that point system tomorrow to deter a little bit. It's not been a good weekend. It's not been a good weekend with the he said, she said, they said. So we'll play it out. We'll let the drama build. Then we'll get to Daytona and forget all about it and start bitching again about how bad this car is. That's what we do. That's what we do. Friends, I invite you to subscribe to the YouTube page, to the Facebook page, me on Twitter at the Rodney R. I'd love a follow from you guys, because this is what we do. We talk racing and we talk sports, and we talk it in the dirty air, which is the convoluted air where you really get to hear and this truly is new grounds for dirty air outside of Dirty Air with Rodney Rodriguez. We're getting all kinds of dirty air that's happening right now, and we're going to continue to get that here in the next couple of weeks. Man, it's going to get dirty. It's going to get dirty, and I'll continue to break it down for you right here on Dirty Air. Friends, I wish you the happiest of Thanksgiving coming up this week. Please enjoy this time with your family. I'm actually going to be on the road, a very different holiday season for me, and at Thanksgiving. This is one of the favorite holiday for me. Stuff my face, hang out with the family, and watch football. I'm going to be on the road doing some work stuff, so you guys enjoy your time, and I look forward to doing this again with you very, very soon, right here on this same platform. Clean air is good. Times like this, dirty air is just a tad bit better. Signing out with a turkey in my hand. I don't know if you guys know this. In the words of Les Nessman, Arthur Carlson. I swear turkeys could fly. Take that with you because they can't. They absolutely can't. Not even in the dirty air. Guys, I'll see you. Enjoy the holiday. This has been Dirty Air with Rodney Rodriguez.